Right, Sam, if you go on the other side of the fence,
Yeah.
poke from the far side back.
Drey poking can be a very effective method for controlling grey squirrels. It's ideally suited to areas of low to medium height deciduous trees. The aim is to disturb the squirrel's drey by using a long pole. Any squirrels that emerge are swiftly dispatched by the waiting guns. The time to do it is late winter, before the trees grow leaves and the squirrels start breeding.
The good thing about drey poking is it allows you to move through the woodland and to clear out all the drays that are in the area. So even if there's not any squirrels in there, you are breaking out the drays. So then at least if you can come back in a few weeks' time and there's any drays appeared, you know they're fresh ones and they're new and they should be active.
Ready to poke?
Yeah.
You will need a drey poking pole. The sections lock together with a catch to prevent the pole dismantling when up the tree. On the end is a prong. This is designed to help you grip the drey and break it up. These can be purchased from specialist suppliers. You will also need at least 3 people to do it. 2 for shooting, 1 for poking. The process requires teamwork and a systematic approach.
On your bag, Matt.
To get the most from a day's work, the team needs to work well together and follow a plan.
Would start off with everybody arriving fairly early in the morning. We all have a quick briefing just so we know who's doing what. So everybody's comfortable with their own job. There's quite a few drays knocking about, so we'll do them as we go. Then we'll head off up into the woods. We sort of fan out a few metres apart, walk through the woods systematically and try and cover as much of it as we can. And it's trying to spot the drays. Once we do spot one, we'll surround it and just have a quick look at it. Now, usually it's fairly simple to tell the difference between a drey and a nest. So a nest is very flat topped. At this time of the year they're unoccupied anyway, but a drey will be more rounded. There'll usually be twigs and leaves and strips of bark and all sorts of things sticking out of it, and it'll look quite messy. Usually if you can see light coming through the drey, it's either not in use or it's not quite finished yet, so it's probably not worth getting too excited about. But we'll usually put the poles through it just in case there is one in there, and if nothing else just to break it up so we know we've covered that area.
Right, you ready, Al? Yeah. Right,
we have a gun on the opposite sides of the tree. The guy who's then using the poles, he'll sort of put the poles together nice and steady, using the stem of the tree to go up. When the pole is almost to the drey, he'll just have a quick look to the other people on who are shooting just to make sure they're ready. Once you've got the nod from them, he'll drive the pole straight through the drey. Hopefully the squirrels will bolt, and they really do move quick, so you've got to be real quick on them and get on them fast. And if you don't get on them and shoot them as soon as they come out the drey, they're gone. They won't usually go too far. They'll either go into another drey somewhere else, or if you're unlucky they'll go into a hollow of a tree and then you've lost them. So you just need to keep your eyes open for them. Once you've either found a drey, you've rodded it out, there's nothing in there, or you have shot the squirrels that have come out, you then use the stem again to bring the poles back down and dismantle the poles. Unload the guns and move on back in your sort of line, move on through the woods and just keep covering around until you come to the next one. And hopefully by doing that you'll be able to cover the whole of the wood and hopefully find every drey that's in there.
Good pole technique can make a real difference. It's a physical job, and a sort of gentle, thoughtful approach is best. When fully extended, the pole can be very unwieldy, and after a time it will start to feel heavy. Moving slowly saves energy and reduces the chance of dislodging debris by accident. Studying the form of the tree and sort of planning the route the pole will take on its way up will also help. The aim is to coax the squirrel out rather than drive it out. A squirrel in total panic is fast and hard to shoot.
By just tapping the bottom of the dray, they'll just come out, run 2 or 3 feet, and they'll just sit for a moment and just seeing what's going on, rather than actually just smashing the dray out in the first shot. And as they come out and just pause, it'll give you a chance just to shoot them. They'll present a good shot.
When removing the dray, there is always a risk from falling debris, which is why the poleman should always have full face and head protection.
The person who's using the poles needs to be a little bit switched on, so he needs to be looking up the tree in case there's any dead wood up there. So as he's bringing the poles down and he's looking down, putting the pole on the floor, he's not breaking off any loose or dead wood, or even the piece of the dray itself might come down and hit him on the head, hence the reason for the head protection. So he needs to be watching and looking all the time as he's bringing the poles down, running them down the stem nice and steady, just to avoid any accidents.
The pole operator needs to know what he's doing, but so do the guns.
You need to sort of be aware of where each other stood and what each other's doing, and it's probably best if you take it in turns of saying who's going to shoot first.
So when you shot out,
it makes it a little bit more controlled. So just talk to each other, make sure that each other is aware of who's doing what.
For everybody's safety, guns must always follow 2 golden rules. Never shoot a squirrel running down the trunk, and never shoot a squirrel on the ground.
You're focused on that squirrel and you follow it through the stem, and then all of a sudden it's coming down, and before you know it you're pointing at the guy opposite you. So it's really, really important that you be aware of where he's going and you just don't follow him down.
Just keep those barrels under control. For effective pest control, every dray should get a visit. And in areas of dense squirrel population, this can mean a lot of drays. Whether you'll get to deal with every squirrel, that's another matter.
It's just anyone's guess really as to where the squirrels are, how many is in each dray. Some drays they're massive, they look really good, really warm. You would swear to God that there's squirrels in there. There could be nothing in there. Then again, you could find something really small and there'll be 2 or 3 come out. It's just a look of the draw. It all depends where they are, and also on the weather. If it's quite a warm day, you might find that they're not in the drays, they might be around foraging. You're just going to have to cover the whole of the wood, and by doing it that way you do cover every dray, and eventually you will catch up with them.
With a thorough and systematic approach, dray poking is one of the most effective forms of grey squirrel control there is. It is highly targeted, with next to no risk to other wildlife. It gets you in touch with the area and can highlight other issues that might need dealing with. It is a sociable activity, and the guns get a sporting challenge.
Yeah, I really enjoy going out dray poking. Squirrels can really be testing shots, and they can give you a real challenge. So it's a real good day, gives you some testing shooting, and it can be good fun.